Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Hello, hello. Welcome to our broadcast. Today, Saturday, August 22nd, we're looking at the remainder of this extraordinary month of August and then looking into an even more extraordinary month of September coming up. So you'll be with us. We'll be broadcasting for it's just about 60 minutes. We want to welcome you, and we like to share about the extraordinary energies that are continuing to really rock our world and shake us awake in this year of personal empowerment and dramatic change, 2020. Who would have thought that we'd be experiencing what we're experiencing?
Well, we got the title right, didn't we?
We did. Well, we look ahead at the energies for the entire year, and we could see that this was going to be a year of
Big
dramatic
shake-up.
change, certainly,
Yeah.
and that the answer to it really is all about personal empowerment. So you'll see as we share with you about the energies and what they mean in our lives, that we're always encouraging you to move more and more into a place of self-empowerment and alignment with yourself, because that's when life really works. So if you're in a space to sit back and relax as Shatan and I take you through a week-by-week journey of the remainder of August and then into the extraordinary energies of September. And for those of you who are newer to our community, we just want to welcome you warmly and let you know that we make this broadcast available free of charge to anyone in our community, and it's not just limited to our community. You feel free, and please do share about it, let your friends know about it, let your people on social media know about it, because everyone's welcome. And I think you'll see that we all can really benefit from this information.
We have some interesting things to offer you.
Yes, and we wanted to also mention, because we've got the Human Design Training System open now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're just starting a new round of human design trainings. So check it out on our website, humandesignforusall.com. And it's humandesignforusall.com and then a /HDTS, short for Human Design Training Series. So
that'll take you there. So it's an extraordinary journey, one in which you would be with us for 6 months and get the benefit of a bi-weekly coaching with Shatan, where you can bring your charts, have them uploaded for the group to see, and Shatan will personally answer your questions, as well as 22 modules that will take you through a step-by-step process of learning the human design system so you can apply it in your own life, and so you can learn to coach with it or do your healing practice with it or your counseling practice, et cetera, et cetera. So take a look at it. It's just going to be available with the bonuses that it's coming with now for a short time. So when you see that email coming through, if you'd like to go there today, take a look. Human Design Training System. This is probably going to be the last time that we offer the coaching component with Shatan free of charge. So if you ever wanted to learn human design, now is the time.
okay, well, we've just had a new moon. What happened with this new moon?
Wow. Well, the new moon was actually on the 19th.
On
Or was
Tuesday.
it the 18th? It was.
Depending on where you are
Yeah,
in the
depending
world.
on it was the 18th of August in California, in the Pacific coast of California. But for much of the world, it would have been in the early hours of the morning the next day, because it happened here at almost 7:45 p.m. Pacific time. So the new moon, August 18th, 19th, new moon in Leo. And what that means is each time we have a new moon, is it's setting the stage for a whole new set of experiences in our lives for the next 30 days. And those set of experiences are meant to move us along in our trajectory of learning and growing and developing and experiencing in life. They have a particular rhythm to them and an energy that when we understand the energies, we can work with really beautifully. We can learn to really benefit from them. And even the energies that are challenging, we can know that they're coming ahead of time and specifically what to do about them and how to turn those challenges into gifts. So the value of knowing this information is that you can use it in your planning and your understanding of how you're orchestrating your life.
So from the human design perspective, we would have to say, looking in the chart of the moment, there is a lot of energy. And, you know, we described this year as being a year of dramatic transformation, dramatic change, but also we said personal empowerment. And so that is very much the key at this particular moment in time. We are all being offered things that perhaps we haven't considered possible before. However, let me just describe what I see about the new moon that happened a couple of days ago. It happened in part of the human design that we call the 29th gate. And those of you not familiar with human design or the I Ching, the 29th gate is the gateway. It's the gateway of saying yes. And with all this energy about at the moment, and the fact that a lot of us have been shut down, you know, can't carry on with the normal life and stuff, a lot of emphasis on let's make a breakout, you know, let's get out of this situation, let's do something different, let's challenge, you know, the shutdown, if you will. And the 29, this gateway of yes, kind of gives us this drive to want to make a move out of this, just anything, get me out of here. The third line, which this happens in, is called holding out, allowing decisiveness for change to come in its own natural way. And it's just a note of caution around this, that all of us are feeling like we really need some kind of a change. But the beautiful thing about knowing your human design is knowing when a change is appropriate. When you have that sensation inside yourself, according to your own perfect human design, when to say that yes, when to bring that yes. It's just to say the energy is with us to make a big change, but a note of caution around it. You know, don't necessarily just dump impulsively because I've got to get something different going on. Pay attention to your own design. That's what I see here.
So the sun moved into Virgo. It enters Virgo here today, August 22nd, leaving now its transit of Leo, where it's been for 30 days. And as it enters Virgo, really taking us into a very different experience. So while the sun's in Leo for 30 days, it's very social, it's very fun, it's very creative. It's a celebratory kind of energy and a very highly creative energy. When we go into Virgo, what we're looking at is we're preparing for the coming next season, the next solstice, and for a change, not only of seasons, but a change in our activities. And we're beginning to take whatever we've been experiencing, expressing, and creating, and take it into a process of refinement, which is what Virgo is all about.
Can it have something to do with getting our health better or our immune system better, things like that?
Well, in general, because Virgo has to do with improving. So whatever system that you're looking at, when Virgo's applied to it, it's about improving. When you're talking about the association with the sixth house, which has to do with health.
Mm-hmm.
So it can also reverberate to our health and our well-being. Good time to be cleaning up health, doing a cleanse, getting stronger, deciding on that, recommitting to that exercise program, that sort of thing. But to really putting your attention to your physical health. We're in a time of great challenge, as you all know, not just in terms of what the world is dealing with right now with this virus on the loose, but also in terms of the systemic changes that are going on worldwide, in all societies worldwide, that are part of the process of birthing us into a new age, a new time. We're entering the age of Aquarius. We're leaving behind the old ways of doing things, 2,000 years of the age of Pisces, and the systems that we had in place, and the ways and the pathways of experiencing life and relationship and work and all of it, our finances, everything, are going through massive changes right now. So allow yourself to be in the flow of those changes. The more we resist the changes, the more difficult we make it, the more painful it becomes. The more we simply open up and embrace the changes, like, all right, what's next? And even, with a sense of excitement, because there's a lot of, especially right now, a lot of very high creativity and some really breakthrough energies that are in the planetary arrangement right now. So we can use that high creativity, we can use the kind of breakthroughs that can come from it to begin to really implement it, to put it into our way of communicating, our way of connecting into our environment and with friends, with family. There is so much possibility. It's a very, very pregnant time. So what we're saying is make good use of this last bit of the month of August.
So looking in the human design perspective, at this particular moment in time, there are two channels that are, I'm going to say, defined. They're active. They're connecting 4 different centers in our makeup together by transit, which basically means the planets have moved into a particular place where they are activating these areas of design, regardless of who you are. So all of us are being exposed to these energies or being given access to these energies at the moment. The question is, what are we going to do with them? The one of the energies you're going to find is the connection between the crown center and the mind center through this channel of 6124. And it's a channel that kind of gives us a download of what we would describe as the inner truth. All of us have been told all kinds of things about life, you know, where we came from, what we're supposed to do, get a job, get a life, you know, whatever. We've all been told all kinds of things. Life's like this, here's the rule system. And the thing of it is, with this channel at the moment, a lot of these rules are getting busted. You know, a lot of these kind of conditions of life are just, well, they don't apply anymore. And that's been going on for some time now. It's the planet Pluto on one end, it's the planet Uranus on the other end. Pluto is all about, you know, let's make a major rearrangement of things. You know, let's rewrite the story. And Uranus is saying, let's take it up a notch. You know, let's take this truth and lift it up a little bit, take it into a higher frequency. So you'll see a lot of people having a lot of trouble with this, like making a step up into a transformation. But some people are just getting it, like all kinds of creative ideas are showing up. Wow, finally I'm getting a feeling I can do this in my life. This looks really exciting. So, you know, going back to the JOB business is perhaps not so enticing anymore. So, you know, if you're feeling concerned, you're not getting much sleep, or it's just too much mental activity going on, you know, just remember, great opportunity to calm down every now and again, go for a walk, go into nature, you know, take a bath, go in the sea, whatever it is to help calm the energy
breathe,
down.
meditate.
Yeah.
Right.
The other
Find your
channel,
center, right?
yeah. The other channel that's going on at the moment is this channel we call the 1222, and it connects from the throat to the emotion center. So all of us have probably experienced a little bit more emotion lately than we have been. And, you know, the emotion can take us up into high space, you know, everything's just fabulous. It can also plant our nose in the mud as well. It's like, oof, I'm really feeling out of sorts today. And just to see the whole world is experiencing this at the moment. Emotions give us access to pleasure in life. And really, you know, part of life has to be pleasure. We are allowed to have fun. We are allowed to celebrate, and, you know, not just allowed, it's like part of our nature. And so all of us have been given this very direct, and I'm going to say individual, access to celebration on the emotional level. And, you know, some people can take it in a very difficult way. They get all upset and angry and violent and stuff. But for the rest, you know, there's a great opportunity of opening up into just really being at home here in this life, and being really comfortable in allowing ourselves simple pleasures, you know, a nice cup of tea, a nice walk somewhere, a nice, you know, meeting people in a different way. So let's just say the doors are very open on that. On the one end of it, we have the North Node destiny, which is the destiny for humanity. It's just basically saying, have another look at life, have a look where there's been restrictions. On the other end of it is the planet Neptune. Neptune is the planet of love for love's sake. You know, we might say our deep spiritual nature and things. So I'm making a point about these two channels and these two connections and what's going on for us, because they carry with us. The second channel carries all the way into October. And the first channel, the mental one, it carries us all the way into November. So these are energies, we're just going to have to get used to them. That's what the universe is playing for us at the moment. And just the more comfortable we can be with the downloads we're getting on the mental level, and the experiences we're having on the emotional level, on a very passionate, romantic level sometimes, just get comfortable with it. It's part of the deal here at the moment.
So let's take a look before we delve into September, just a little bit on the last part of August. On the 25th, we have a first quarter moon. That first quarter moon in Sagittarius is the first turning point that's taking the the sort of seed of the ideas that happened at the new moon, the beginning of the new cycle, the seeing, what's next, and where do I go now, and what am I up to now, and beginning to bring it into form and expression, you know, giving it some substance, you know, getting it landed in a sense and getting it earthed so that it's something you actually get your arms around and work with. So that's that first quarter moon. It's moving us into awakening to our capacity to work more and more and more in alignment with our spirit nature. In other words, we just allow life to come through us, like we become the hollow bamboo. We allow life to come through us, love to come through us, creativity to come through us. We allow our essential being, our essence, to just flow through us. So life is not effortful anymore. It becomes effortless because it's just in a flow. That's the potential of what we can move into right now. Now, you know, are we going to do that perfectly? Are we all going to get it first time around? I mean, there's plenty of time to learn this, to practice it, to step into it. We're in a gap between two huge historic eras of humanity. And, you know, we're in the doorway. So begin, do what Shatan suggested, take some rest, get inspired, go for a walk by a lake, in the ocean, in the mountains, take some deep breaths, do your yoga, your meditation, whatever it is that takes you back into centeredness, and begin to live more and more from that centeredness. That's why we teach human design, so that we can empower you really to fairly quickly learn how to bring yourself back into alignment with your truth and start living in that alignment where your life begins to just fall together as if it's miraculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really truly becomes your life.
Yeah, and you know, everything that happens, you see this divine orchestration. That's the potential, and the potential is now with this aspect we're seeing at this first quarter moon, for you to really get a sense of it, a foretaste of it in a sense, for you to be able to see it, intellectually grasp it, understand it, that we really are in a big up leveling. So are you willing to go into that up level? We couldn't have higher, more inspired vision right now. I mean, Venus is just flowing in this lovely aspect with Neptune, which is high creativity, high spirituality. It's in an aspect with Jupiter, which is generous expansion and growth. So when it looks like the world is contracting in some ways, if you're plugged into the news sources, and we don't recommend too much of that, but you know, in fact, this is a time of great expansion. But the expansion happens first internally.
It's an individual expansion.
It's an inside job, right? So that's the energy as we see it. Are there some very challenging things happening? Absolutely, yes. Mars is exactly in a right angle with Saturn. It's saying whatever anyone is trying to do that isn't rooted in something that will be beneficial, or, you know, lives and comes from a sense of truth, a sense of well-being, is going to simply be, it's just not going to work. It's going to be frustrating. It's not going to work. It's going to be shut down. The door is closing on some very old behaviors that are really not productive, as we begin to awaken to the possibility of being a one world humanity.
So looking in this last little bit of the month, the sun has gone into gateway number 59, and that means we're in this particular life theme we call sleeping phoenix. And I'm just going to say about this, you know, it's a great time to be visioning. It's a great time to be recognizing there are opportunities opening up to us. You know, when we were all kids, we had all great ideas. I'm going to do this, going to do that, you know, travel all over the place, do all kinds of great things. And, you know, perhaps there came a point in time where life just took over, and all of a sudden we have all kinds of commitments and we take on all kinds of responsibilities. And I'm not saying to throw those responsibilities off, but I'm saying really have a good look at this time. Just reacquaint yourself with the vision that you had, and just see the door is there, where up until recently there was a brick wall. There is a doorway, there is a gateway, there's an opening, there's a possibility. And now all I say is this happens on a very, very individual level. We did not come here to live anybody else's life. We didn't come here to copy or to go along with anybody else's rule systems, belief systems, anything like that. You know, we are here to have our own experience of life. People have asked me for years, I've been reading for people for 40 years. And the most people would ask me, you know, what's my purpose? You know, what am I supposed to be doing here? And, you know, you can look in somebody's chart, you can read all kinds of things and say, well, you're very good about this and this, you know, and these all things are great for you. But in the end, you come here to be you. That's it. You come here to be you. And that is the triumph, and that is the experience. And the you may have absolutely nothing to do with anybody else's expectations of who you are and what your life's about. But it takes a little bit of courage. But what Carolyn and I are both saying is the doors are open now to have these experiences, to engage in that level of individuality that may have been left behind at some stage. So I am so excited by the charts that I see at the moment, the transit charts in human design, because I've never seen anything like this before. You know, that the door literally is there where there was a brick wall. And you may say, well, I'm so hampered, I can't do anything, the finances are down, you know, and all I'm saying is it's a great time to reacquaint yourself with your vision. And the moment you apply vision to intention, all kinds of things can start to change. And it really is that kind of energy at the moment. This sleeping phoenix energy, it's going to go into this energy of, we're going to go into this place of migration at the end of the month and as we get into September. And migration means we can move on for certain things that have kind of held us back from commitments that actually didn't need to be fostered anymore. And, you know, suppositions about our life that really we need to let go of. And that is part of this thing of this era that we're going out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. And, you know, all of us have to let go of a lot of presuppositions.
Let's take a look at the full moon coming up on the 1st to 2nd of September, depending on what part of the world you're experiencing it in. The full moon at 10 degrees of Pisces opposite the sun, 10 degrees of Virgo. We've got some amazing flow of energy to that full moon with Uranus, the planet of breakthrough to new possibilities, favorably aspecting both the moon and the sun. Again, bringing, you know, this opening of just new, what we call downloads, you know, where you just get these inspired ideas and you don't know where they came from, but it's like, you know, it's something, you know, really significant to listen to. So that high inspiration is just open to us all right now. It's a matter of being in a space to be receptive to it. And that's not too hard to do because the energy is so strong, especially at this full moon period of time. I mean, we've got big openings to new possibilities happening for all of us. The other thing is that the sun moon with this, you know, a really exciting aspect with Uranus brings unusual out of the box kind of solutions that can come to systemic issues that have been maybe stuck for a long time. You know, on the personal level, you might be working through some money and values issue that can get volatile before it gets resolved. You know, much of what we've been taught about values, about money, it really doesn't apply anymore. I mean, look, America's just churning out money like it's a, you know, just a printing press. It doesn't mean anything, right? And distributing it around. It's no longer based in the integral systems that were the beginning of the whole financial foundation for America, really for our world. This is happening all over the world in different ways. So if the old systems fall away, new systems come about. And there are some new systems, some new currencies, some new ways of interacting with money. I think we're going to go into a society where we're really not using money. And nor are we hampered by it. That's the possibility. That's the possibility. Because it really is it's the great, you know, really scourge of the 20th century is the way people have had to be sort of slaves to money. That's over. That's moving out. It's no longer going to work. So now your relationship with money is a highly creative one. What is it you want to create? You know, what is your gift, your unique gift, your way of interacting with the world that you want to bring that forward, that you have passion about, that you're clear to do, that you're supported by spirit to do? The money will come when you live that life that your soul intended for you to live. The vision's so high right now, you'd have to be trying to miss it, really.
So right at the end of the month of August and going into September and coming up to this full moon, we've gone through a week in which we've had access to a channel, the 3740. It's a channel of community. And it's been a great opportunity to kind of look around and see, well, who are my people? You know, who are the ones I really like to break bread with and sit around the table with and have a good hobnob with and good discussion. And, you know, even if we're on the other end of a Zoom somewhere, you know, or a phone call or, you know, FaceTime. And great time to communicate in that regard. And as September opens up, we have this opportunity to see, okay, am I clear in my friendships, or is it time to move on? Am I clear in what I've been doing up to now, or maybe something else is calling to me? So just to be aware, that's the energy as we come up to this full moon. Full moon happens in gateway number 37. Gateway number 37 is a gateway of friendship and family, right? And it takes place in the fifth line. It's a fifth line. It's very, very familiar to me because it's part of my design, this particular fifth line. Let me read it. It's the line called being loyal, natural and magnanimous devotion to the family. So who is it in your life that really counts? That's what it's saying. And it could be anything from, you know, somebody that you've been a lifelong friend with. It can be somebody that's actually in your blood family. It can be somebody that you work with. It can be, you know, somebody that plays in a football team on the other side of the planet. You know, it's like, who is it that really you feel like you have a strong connection with, like that? And going forward from this full moon, you know, when it's really up, is to see who is it that's really important in my life? Who is it that I have magnanimous devotion for? You know, just I'll do anything for them. I'm just that much attuned to what they stand for in my world as a member of my family, like that. So very powerful full moon. Again, there's no let up for all this energy. There's this tremendous manifesting energy, but it's been a great week as we get into September to find out, you know, who are the people that are really on my team. Can I say it like that? Who are the people I really want to work with? If I'm opening up a new venture, you know, who am I going to pull in here? Who am I going to have to consult, and who's going to support, and where's the wherewithal coming from? Who's going to invest with me in this? So great time for that, to seeing how something can come into motion with the people you really want to be in motion with.
When we look at the beginning, as we enter September a little further, we get past that full moon at the very beginning of September and go into the first week, we've got a couple of planetary changes of direction. And when we say that, for those of you who aren't familiar, you know, planets can appear to be moving backwards in the sky. That has to do with based on the relative speed of their orbits and the way that we view it from Earth, to put it simply. So it's a phenomena that has always happened. Astronomers track it, astrologers track it. When we have a retrograde planet, basically what it's doing is it's retracing its steps in the sky that it just went over. So it's saying it's laying down some new tracks, and then when it turns retrograde, it's going back over what has been created in the previous cycle in order to review it, perhaps take another look, make some new decisions, or refine it to get it more and more ready. So what is turning retrograde is the planet Mars. Mars does this every 2 years. It's doing it on actually is that the 10th of September?
Yeah, it's around the 9th, 10th.
It's the 9th, yeah, of September. 28 degrees of Aries, Mars absolutely standing dead still in the sky.
Going nowhere.
Apparent motion, right? Just standing there. And then about to turn and begin retracing its steps back through those latter degrees of Aries, back into that right angle square with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, which we were talking about have been partly responsible for the big breakdown of many of the major systems and the things that we've counted on in our society. Those are many of them just crumbling away. It's time they have to go, or they have to up level, transform. And Mars will now take us on a little bit over 2-month journey. It doesn't turn back again until November 13th, and won't hit any speed until at least the end of November. So we're looking at most of September, all of October, and a good part of November, where we're going to be in this review of all of the new things that we've wanted to bring forward into our lives, the new turning points in our lives, the new objectives, the new way of working, the new way of being in relationship. We're learning so much right now about each other, about life, about our values, and revisiting all that. So So when Mars goes retrograde, we're reviewing our work. You know, are we satisfied in our work? Do we love our work? Do we like our job? Do we want to keep it? You know, and do we want to invest even more in that pathway? Do we love our business? Is it time for an up level in our business? Is it time for a change in the way I'm working or in what I'm doing or in how I'm doing it? So a lot of those questions now we're going into, we've got time, you know, is we have a good 10 weeks to really be with this question. So we have the third quarter moon on the 10th of September, and that's going to, you know, kind of just bring all this into living color, so to speak, right at that Mars turn. It might feel like we're taking, you know, 2 steps back after going a step or 2 forward, and we may need to do that. We're shifting gears abruptly into reverse in order to look at what needs to change. What's really now, and what are the important objectives that we need to take more time with? Go back into the planning stages with, you know, go back to the drawing board, really make certain and be crystal clear that this is what you'll be committing to, because we're at the beginning of a new decade that's going to take us further than we've ever imagined as a humanity. Jupiter,
unrecognizable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's phenomenal what's happening. Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, has been moving in retrograde for a number of months now. It turns direct on September 13th in the sign of Capricorn. Essentially what that's doing, and especially here at the third quarter moon on September 10th, the sun comes in and forms a beautiful triangle with Jupiter, saying, what are the opportunities? Look, they're all around us, opportunities abound. And to find our opportunities, we need to connect with our vision. Well, Neptune is opposing the sun at this time, September 10th. So the potential, if we are listening for it, if we're receptive to it, is to get a very high vision for the future movement of all the new things that we're wanting to create at this pivotal time in humanity's experience and in our own experience. You know, we may be completely recreating our lives, doing something completely different. The sun's about to go into a triangle with those planets, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, that have been responsible for all this, what we may experience as chaos in the world, but
rearrangement,
really,
reshuffling.
It's a big death and rebirth. And with the sun now coming in and trining into that, just flowing energy into it, we're beginning to see, well, what could be possible here? You know, there's some actual good that's possible to come out of all this. What is that? Go looking for it. Find it in your life. That's what the energies are saying. The Venus had been in Cancer for a long time this summer, having last done a retrograde there. And now it's in Leo. It's in this very highly creative sign. It's moving into this triangle energy with Chiron. So we have a potential for quite a bit of healing and awakening up into higher states of consciousness, recognizing more and more that our soul, when we really get out of the way, when we stop interfering with our soul's impulse in life, and we allow our soul to have the steering wheel, that life begins to work so much more beautifully, almost magically. So we're potentially learning that as well this time.
So in the first week of September, leading up to this point in time where Mars does a complete station from our viewpoint here, you may remember people were firing off a few rockets to Mars a kind of month ago, you know, like how to get there the quickest. So that has part of this thing of Mars slowing down in its apparent viewing from Earth and then starting to go backwards, coming towards us again, as it were, in its orbit. But what is happening in this week is that the possibility is we've been really re-evaluating many, many things. So I was talking just about this thing of migration, like moving on from certain people, moving on from certain situations, and realigning, reacquainting ourselves with people and situations that really gel with us, really work with us. So there's been a week of that in the first week, and then coming up to this point in time where Mars does the station. Mars actually apparently seems to slow down. So our effort and our energy can feel like a little hampered. We're kind of pushing against something a little bit. And it's just the encouragement, you know, here's the opportunity to reevaluate, reinvent. And this turning of Mars, where it stops is, and what it does in its retrograde time, this 6-week period, it gives us an opportunity to set in place how the next couple of years are going to pan out for us and what we're going to be doing. So a very important point in time where it makes this station, where it makes this stop and starts to turn, and it's gateway number 3. Gateway number 3 in the human design is the gateway of beginnings, implementing the new, right? So we've said this year, dramatic change year, huge upheavals and stuff. And Mars is just saying, look, here's an opportunity, do it differently. Try life in a completely different way. Why not? You know, what's so great about the old way? You know, it's kind of boring even. So anyway, Mars does this turn in the second line. It's the line that's called maturing, diligent application, trusting your own personal evolution. You have the potential for personal growth and maturation if you trust your own ways. Couldn't be clearer than that. New beginnings, new starts, new rearrangements, breakthroughs, innovation, right? If you trust your own ways. And, you know, what can we say except how do you find your own ways? Human design. You trust your own design. You find out what's going on in your design. So could I say, is it possible to have any more energy going our way, to have any more opportunities opening up for us at the moment? That we have this 6-week period to completely re-examine what is it that Mars energy wants to go into? You know, same old, you know, kind of boring potentially, or completely innovative. Absolute break with the past and into something new. And of course, in any time of transformation, it takes huge courage to make this step. But what do you got to lose? You know, you've got 10 years to live this life out. You know, have you hit the peak yet? Somebody was asking me the other day, you know, I'm getting on in life and I've got a lot of experiences behind me, and I was kind of relating these experiences, and they said, wow, you've had such a great life, you know, and she was saying it as though I was about to retire. I said, no, I'm just getting warmed up, you know, it's just getting good. This is what I came here for. And I would just like to relay that sensation to you as well. The opportunity, the openings at the moment, they're just enormous. And just to encourage you, pick up, you know, this life wants us to triumph. And the greatest triumph is to be fulfilled in your life. That really is it. So go for it.
Absolutely. Some of the aspects we're seeing around this time are really pointing to, you know, finding new creative ways of attracting opportunities, of new creative ways of doing our work, new creative ways of thinking, of seeing things, new perhaps resources that we might be using. You know, there's a new platform that seems to come out every other day or something, you know. But, you know, what are the resources that could be available to us now? Are we looking to see what resources are available? Because there is a plethora of them. So in addition to the opportunity cycles that are happening, we've also got great communication energy going on here in this part of September that goes from the 9th, 10th to the 17th, when we have another new moon. So another new beginning. This new beginning happens at 25 degrees of Virgo with a new moon on the 17th of September, just before the autumnal equinox, which will happen September 22nd. We realize that in the southern hemisphere, it would be your spring equinox. In the northern hemisphere, it's autumn. Either way, it's a big turning point, September 22nd. So getting ready for that with this new moon, the new moon in Virgo in a beautiful triangle energy to those planets I've been talking about, the 3 planets that are together in Capricorn that are changing all of our systems, breaking them down first, challenging them, seeing what needs to change, and up-leveling them. So this new moon is facilitating all that change, all that up-leveling. Where is it happening in our own lives? Where are we laying down pathways for transforming the status quo in our own lives or in our own business, in our own way of expressing? We still have this amazing triangle energy between Venus and Chiron, which can bring great money flow. It can bring great opportunities. It can bring deep healing of old sort of misunderstandings or issues around our values. What is it that we truly value? And are our values our own? The values that we choose, or are they values that have simply been handed down to us, from previous generations? Yes, we're back in this challenging energy with Mars backing up into the square of Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. Essentially, all that's doing is saying, all right, there's big change afoot. Now, how specifically are we going to get that to happen? What specifically are we going to do? We need to take another look at this, a deeper look at this, a more profound look at it, because it is an important question. It's a pivotal question. So we're at this turning point, just at this new moon, 17th of September, halfway through, a little bit more halfway through of September, heading into that autumnal equinox, which is always a big point of change in life. We're entering a time in which we're being called to access our creative self-expression, and the challenge is to discover what works now in these highly volatile times. What worked before doesn't work anymore, right? So what works now? That's the question. What is true for me now? What works now? How can I bring my highest self and my highest expression into form in a way that not only will be satisfying for me and beneficial for me in every way, but also be a gift to the world?
So do you get the sensation that whether you like it or not, somehow or other, you're being dragged into the present tense? It's happening to all of us. That, if all the rule systems and all the things we use to kind of relate to ourselves, our identity features or whatever, are kind of diminishing for one reason or another. And, looking into the future and prospects, and, we can't really tell where it's going to go. But that whole thing of having that clarity inside ourselves to just say, this is who I am, this is my life, these things about me are recognizable. And if I understand my design, I can recognize more and more how to play in present tense, how to be alert and present for whatever it is that life wants to bring to me. And let's face it, this is your movie. You're the one that's having this life. You're the one that's having this experience. All the features and feelings and sensations, they're yours, just as mine are mine. They're just very, very particular. And so bringing yourself into the present tense and being in a space where you can really handle whatever it is life puts in front of you, very, very particular. And so I say this because coming up for this new moon, the new moon takes place in gateway number 6. And in traditional I Ching, the gateway number 6 is the gateway called conflict. Some kind of friction, some kind of upset. But I decide, we're moving into the Aquarian age, so let's put it slightly different and say conflict resolution, right? So there's bound to be situations in life where we get rubbed up the wrong way. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to react? Are we going to fight? Are we going to have an argument, get all upset, freaked out, bummed out, whatever? Third line here is the line that's called having resolutions. Resolutions often happen by playing a passive role. So when somebody, I hate that politician, I don't like that whole line of thought, and the neighbors, they're making such a racket, I can't stand it, and the person just cut me off in traffic, and it's like I'm all
riled up. I'm all riled up, they say in the South.
So here's the new moon saying, come on, all of us, for the last several months, we've had these massive challenges. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? The solution is coming to present tense, because in present tense, there is no problem. It's only when you link times and thoughts and things together is when you start having problems. So here is an opportunity with this new moon. Something comes up, and the normal thing would be to react, to get upset about it, and in real intelligence to say, drop it, let it go. Does this really rankle me so much that I have to get all upset and excited about it? Part of the education of really coming into this new age, this Aquarian age, is becoming comfortable with our emotion, becoming comfortable with our feelings, allowing ourselves to enjoy ourselves, to have pleasure. I mean, look at this playground we've been given. I was just reading a little funny statistic. You know, the world looks very overcrowded, but apparently, if you took all 7 point so many billion people on the planet and they all lived in Alaska, the state of Alaska, each person on this planet could have 1 acre of land.
What?
Yeah, there's that much space. And that's just, you know, the frozen north somewhere, this wonderful part
There's
of the
7
world.
million acres?
7 billion. Right.
No.
Yes, indeed. It's a clear statistic. So
Wow.
every single person can have an acre. So look, if you're fed up with being in the city and, you know, it's just a little bit too much like being crammed into a short space, you know, consider there is Zoom now. There are going to be soon flying cars. There's going to be all kinds of things opening up. We can go back into nature. We can go back into the country and still have a very, very rich life. So just, I'm putting that out there. The things that rankle us, the things we get upset about, the things that, you know, perhaps they're tied into some old idea of things. This new moon gives us a great opportunity. Just drop it, let it go, and you'll feel so much better.
So we move, of course, from the new moon, which begins a whole new cycle and sets the stage for the next 30 days, into the first quarter moon. That happens on the 23rd of September. And the first quarter moon, that very first really definite check-in point. All right, so are we on track with whatever inspiration came through at the new moon, whatever the new uh, objective is, or vision is, or impetus is? That first quarter moon is a check-in here on September 23rd. Are we on track? And what we'll see there is that Venus, having now, you know, come through quite a few really challenging aspects for quite some time, although it's been flowing a little better in September, really going into some very, very positive aspects. Venus in Leo, moving into a triangle with Mars in Aries, that retrograde Mars in Aries, and also then sextiling over to Mercury. So Mercury's communication, Mars is the work we do in the world, Venus is our values, our self-love, uh, the things that bring us pleasure in life. So what do we have? We have a coming together of the possibility of aligning our work with what truly brings us pleasure and finding ways of expressing it. That's the Mercury part, that are beneficial and holistic and pleasing to us. So, you know, it's a really ripe time for new possibilities to get their first, their first sort of presentation on stage, so to speak. You know, to sort of bring it out and try out the new systems or the new ways or the new programs or the new communication, whatever that is for you individually and uniquely. The first quarter moon in Capricorn, calling our attention to what else do we need to do in terms of our own personal healing. We're working on developing resilience through going through this set of challenges that we've been going through, and that the more we develop that resilience, it becomes a strength. It becomes something that is incorporated inside of us and something that will carry us through. We're beginning to have, as we're just had the equinox on September 22nd. So when we're here at the first quarter moon on September 23rd, we're saying, all right, it's time. We're ready to really get in motion. The only difficulty is, if you remember, the planet Mars, which has to do with our work in the world, is retrograde. So it's in this period of reconsideration. So here we are wanting to go all steam ahead when we're still reconsidering. The best advice I can give you is keep going forward with the things you're totally clear about, and allow yourself to review and revise the things that are in question. So just use the energy well during this time. It continues until mid-November at least. So, we're coming into, with this fall equinox, a realization of the full impact now of the sweeping social changes and the need to find, completely new ways of relating, of working, of being in the world. It's not a small task.
We ain't going back.
Right. Right. So finding those people that we connect with, who is it in your life now who's really meant to be there? And where is the collaboration going to be really great? Who are the clients you're meant to be working with right now? The ones that really you can serve them well, and it can be a mutually beneficial engagement. What are the programs or the process you want? What kind of changes do you want to make in your work or in your career, in your job? How do you want to bring those about? Essentially, the questions being asked, if you could create whatever you wanted to create with your life, what would that be? And that really is the question of this time.
So from the human design perspective, as we come up to this fall equinox, or the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere, basically it's the moment at which the sun is right over the equator. So, it's kind of both sides are the same. It's the day where, the daylight is the same as the night light. Yeah. So the sun happens to be in gateway number 46. And the gateway number 46, the traditional I Ching calls it pushing upward into heaven. How do you push up into heaven? You look after the body, because the body is going to support you in your journey while you're having this life experience here. And the body, very, very important thing. So I've always seen, the equinox is a great time to be looking at physical health. What is my program around looking after my body? Now, right in the early part of this year, and like the end of last year, 2019, the planet Uranus was in gate 27. And it stayed in there all the way through into May. And then it went out into gate 24 and started making this connection with Pluto. So to me, I kept saying, this is all about, if Uranus is all about the Aquarian way, and the 27 is all about how do we nourish ourselves, the signal to me was we really need to upgrade our attention to our physical health and well-being, and particularly look after our immune system. And, we'll have found that the major part of the disease that's been going around the world is really affecting people with compromised immune systems. So I'm just going to say, and I'm not speaking from a medical point of view at all, I am not qualified there, but I'm just working from my observations and from what I read in human design. Uranus is going to go back into the 27. It's in retrograde now. It'll go back in December, or late November, early December. For the last, it'll sweep through for the next, 84 years or something. So I'm just saying, at this point in time, with this equinox, this is a great opportunity to ask yourself, am I eating healthy? Am I drinking healthy? Am I exercising healthy? Am I hanging out with healthy people? Am I, engaging in healthy pastimes and stuff? Am I really looking after this vehicle that pushes me upward into heaven, that takes me through this life journey and gives me the greatest possible fulfillment? So I'm going to say that, while Mars is retrograde, we're reevaluating, is this kind of work interesting to me still? Isn't it time to do something completely different maybe? Because the force of the universe is absolutely saying this is a time to make your mark on your individuality, to absolutely stand in your own truth, regardless of what anyone else has ever had to say. What do they know?
About you.
About you. I mean, really, this is it. This is the opportunity at this moment in time. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. The opportunity, the sensation of getting the aha, letting the resolution just drop in. It's like, wow, like the curtain opens, the gateway flings back, and all of a sudden we can see a whole different way through. And that going through that gateway brings us that fulfillment.
Yeah. And also, the huge potential to completely recreate our relationships. That's going on at the same time.
Totally.
We had a Venus retrograde this year. Many of you will remember that, lasted for 6 weeks, in which we really had to evaluate the nature of our relationships and how fulfilling are they, and how beneficial are they in our lives.
Are we growing in our relationships?
Yeah. Of course, we'll be, so as we're looking here at the fall equinox opens, we have this first quarter moon. We've got this brand new beginning in a very high energy cycle. And we will be back with you before the next full moon. So we'll be back with you on the 26th of September, Saturday, for our next broadcast, where we'll look at the very last week of September and then into all of October, which should be another yet again, phenomenal month with its own set of challenges, and particularly what we're working with as the sun goes into Libra, which it does at the equinox,
Yeah.
is it it takes us into the whole realm of relationship. You know, we start looking at the quality of our relationships and how much satisfaction those relationships are bringing us and how much we're actually contributing to our relationships. Are we, you know, our relationships can be like a plant, you know, and they need water and sunshine and good soil
Fertilizer.
and love. Yeah. So are we loving, are we caring for our relationships? That will be the next question coming up as we're now working through here in the latter part of August and into September. What's the next phase of our work going to be?
So a lot of healing can take place around this equinox and ending out the month of September.
And once again, I want to say that if you've ever wanted to study human design, this really is your time. Take a look at it because we have, for the last couple of years, we've produced an aspect of the 6-month training, which is a really in-depth, very thorough, very well-organized training with a lot of description and workbooks and all of that. So you really will learn it if you engage. But we added this coaching component to see, you know, how much more benefit could we bring you with that coaching. And we just did it for free to see, you know, how beneficial is it for people.
It's acceleration.
So that will be, that
yeah.
free part will be expiring, but you can still take advantage of it. And we invite you to do so if you would all want to learn human design as a way to use it to impact others' lives, to coach, to counsel, to do your healing practice, to do your business consulting. I mean, there's so many facets. So if it calls to you, and if it's true for you and calls to you, let this be your timing to join us.
Very good.
Yes, and we'll be back with you again for our
month.
broadcast next month. Feel free to share our broadcast with your network of friends.
Bye for now.
Bye.